In the symphony of life, the God within black men sings a melody of endurance and grace, a timeless refrain passed down through generations of kings. Their spirits, resplendent with the echoes of ancestors' dreams, rise like incense to the heavens, a sacred offering of strength and wisdom. Each step taken is a dance of defiance against the shadows of history, a testament to the indomitable spirit that dwells within them. With crowns forged from the fires of perseverance, these men of regal bearing navigate the contours of existence with a divine purpose unrivaled. In their eyes, the stories of triumph and tribulation are etched in golden calligraphy, a testament to the resilience that beats in the rhythm of their hearts. As they embrace their royal heritage, they illuminate the world with a light that shines from the depths of their souls, a beacon of hope and guiding inspiration for all who witness their majestic presence. My name's Danielle Desiree, and welcome to KINGZ. Welcome. I am your host, Danielle Desiree, and I am so thrilled to have you on the first episode of KINGZ today. So today, my guest is Remy Joseph. Okay. So, Remy, now that I have you on, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Who is Remy Joseph?
Remy Joseph is a husband of one, a father of two, an entrepreneur, and just a hardworking man, basically. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Where are you from?
So I'm originally from Nassau, Bahamas, but my parents are from Haiti, and we moved to South Florida when I was 4. So I've been in South Florida all my life.
Okay. Were there challenges for you looking back, growing up with both of your parents coming from Haiti and you being so young, coming to the United States and trying to navigate that growing up?
You know what? Yes. A few things like coming to America is like overwhelmed with different cultures and like different ways of thinking. So coming to America, I remember I was a little boy. I mean, it might be story time now, but seeing people fight and beat up people and like they didn't like you because you were of Haitian descent and like you just automatically hated. So I had to experience that. I even got into fights that I didn't want to get into as a 5-year-old, 6-year-old and stuff. So yeah, it was kind of difficult growing up Haitian, you could say. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. What was it like for your parents coming and going and leaving their culture behind and having to adopt to a new one?
Yeah. At the time when my parents left Haiti, well, my mom left first. My mom left not knowing she was pregnant, first of all. So she left Haiti and I was like in the womb and she didn't even know she was pregnant. And when she got to the Bahamas, thank God she met some nice people that helped her get on her feet. And that's why I was born there. But it was hard for them being foreigners in America because only thing they knew was work, home, and church. So it's like the things that I feel like a lot of other kids got, I didn't really get it because they were so concentrated on working their butts off just to survive. And mind you, I'm one of 5. I'm the last child of 5. So I was like the least concerned in the family because I was here and the other 4 was still in Haiti and she was like working her butt off to get them there here. Well, get them to the States. First, it was my dad. She worked hard to get my dad into the Bahamas. And then she got me and my dad into the States. And then once all 3 of us was in the States, their main focus was getting the other four, and it took a very long time for them to get here.
Well, what sort of expectations did you feel growing up with the fact that your mom sacrificed so much, your dad, to get you here in the States, and growing up and having a different sort of life than in Haiti? Did you feel a lot of pressure growing up and expectations?
Believe it or not, it was a lot of resentment for me. It's like my parents looked at it as like, oh, he's here, he's fine. We don't have to worry about Christmas for him. We don't have to worry about birthdays for him. Like he's here. Let's focus on the other ones. So it was like I grew up with a lot of resentment of my brothers and sisters, even though they were in the third world country. But I would watch my mom work 2 jobs and my dad working construction. And every penny they got was like, okay, we're going to send 300 to the kids here. We're going to go buy them their brand new shoes. Then we're going to go buy them what they need. We're going to give them what they want. And me is like, I'm getting like the secondhand stuff. I'm getting like, we're going to go to Faith Farm. That's like a secondhand store. And like, not everything like that was like that for me, but resentment. Because I remember like Christmas would come around and I'll ask my mom to buy me something for Christmas. And it would take like 2 or 3 years for me to see that what I asked. But when my brothers and sisters were like, oh, we need new shoes, or we want jewelry, or we want a watch, we want this, we want that, they would like instantly like bust their butt and get it to them. But since I was here, I was good. And I always resented them for that.
You being here was like the gift.
Yes, basically, yeah. And that's growing up, I hated holidays because of that. Because I would be the kid with nothing. You know what I mean? Like my parents, I'll see all my friends' bikes riding around. And my parents, I get it. They were working hard. I know why. I never ignored why they were working hard, but you're still being a kid. Like you want what everybody else is getting. You know what I mean? But for me, it was just like years later, I would get what somebody had 3 years ago or something like that. But yeah, it was a little tough. But I mean, I feel like it made me who I am now. I appreciate every single thing. If somebody give me a penny, like I'm loyal for life because I know how it is not to have anything, so yeah.
Yeah. Did going through a lot of that in your childhood, how did that make you, I guess, how did that play out in your outlook on what you wanted for your own family as an adult?
So for me, it was, I don't want my kids to grow up spoiled. Like I want my kids to understand it took this many hours of work to get you this one thing that you wanted. I'll get it for you, or I'll help you do certain things, but you have to earn it. I learned as a young man, I think I started working like 13. I was like 13 years old when I started like working, like getting my own money to help me get what I want. So I don't want my kids to struggle like that, but I want them to have an understanding what it takes to work hard to get something that they want. And my parents didn't have those talks with me. It was like, like my parents didn't have, like my parents were loving parents, but you wouldn't just randomly get hugs in a day and I love you. Like, you know what I mean? Like they were like strict parents, go to school, get your education, do something, kind of, it's good that you're here, but we got to work on them, the other kids. So I understood they struggle. So by me going through that as a child, it made me like, how can I say, like work with my kids a little differently. Like if you work hard, you can get what you need. Start learning that now. I'll give you what you need, but what you want, you can work hard and get it. So that's what made me who I am. Appreciative. Let me say that. Appreciative of anything somebody give me or do for me. My wife get tired of me saying thank you. Like if my wife do something for me or she give me something like, thank you, babe. She's like, can you just stop? But it's just that child in me knowing not having nothing. Like, I didn't have babysitters. I was like 8 years old by myself at home, like cooking my own food, like making my own stuff, whatever. So I learned how I grew up not having. So when anybody do for me is like a blessing to me, like, thank you. You know what I mean? So that's what kind of stuck in my brain as a child.
Yeah. Basically, you have a sense of gratitude for everything.
Yeah, it's big
Yeah,
time.
yeah. I can see that. Do you or have you ever been back to Haiti since you've left?
Okay, so I wasn't born in Haiti. My parents were. My mom left Haiti pregnant with me in like 19. I was born 19. So growing up in the Bahamas, it was short lived. Like I was only there till I was 4. But the one thing I noticed when I came to the States, the first thing that scared me when I saw Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson as a little boy, I was like terrified of that. Because I was like, is that how they are in the States? Like these people are burning stuff and like, all these crazy things you see in the video. And that's all part of the States, and that was like my first taste of racism, like seeing, because in the Bahamas, it was like my mom used to work for the cruise line. So sometimes you go from one island and jump on a little plane and go to the other island. And my mom would work on the island, but she had friends that I would stay with them, or I would be on the beach all day hanging out with different cultures. So I didn't experience, I guess, racism, but when I saw Thriller, I was scared as heck coming to the States. But when I got here, I seen it was like that. So yeah, that's my little crazy little story about me coming. I tell people that all the time, but it was just, again, I felt like I learned racism when I got to the States. Before that, I didn't know what that was.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I could see that. No, that story with Michael Jackson is funny. But
Yeah, I was
but
terrified.
I could see why you would have been terrified seeing that for the first time. Well, since you brought it up and touched on it a little bit, racism. So you're growing up in the United States. What was your experience like with racism? Was it something direct in your face, or was it something more of you're just more aware of with certain behaviors and things that you saw on television?
Um, so as I got older, as a young man, I want to say like, again, like 12, 13, yeah, I experienced it firsthand. Like, you would be walking from school or from like middle school, and where our middle school was is almost like almost a all white neighborhood where our middle school was. And you'd be walking home and somebody would scream out a racial slur while you're walking home, out their door or out their window or something. And, growing up as a young man, people clutching their purses because they think you're going to steal something from them, or like they'll lock their doors when you walk by. So, yeah, as a black man, I experienced that a lot. But I didn't let it, how can I say it, bring me down. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine that you're like that. It's not fine, but like, I'm not going to let you dictate how I treat people, or, or how I want to be treated. You know what I mean? So racism was always a part of me growing up. Like we used to get pulled over just for nothing. Like they'll see you drive by, they'll pull you over and then drive past you laughing as a kid. Like man, if I fast forward like high school, man, I had friends killed by the cops. And I'm talking about way before, this is like 95, 96, before social media and TV, anything. I've had a few friends murdered by the cops and beat up and different things. But at the same time, I didn't let it like discourage me in what I was trying to do as a young man, or like how far I wanted to go.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to hear that, because that I hear stories like that is far too common
Mm.
in the United States, and hurts my heart.
Yes.
I know growing up in Georgia, I've experienced racism before, but it's been a little different than how Black men have experienced racism, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I've had friends like, probably in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like, man, because one of my buddies was a bunch of white cops, and because he was in a car with somebody that had drugs on him, they pinned it on him and like beat him up. I'm talking about like, this is before they had the cameras. Like they beat him up and they took him to jail, even though they know he wasn't guilty, but they made him plea a charge just to get out, so he don't spend like 10, 12 years in jail. Even though they knew they were wrong, but they now he has a criminal record for something that he didn't have anything to do. I mean, there's so many things like that happen, and thank God I've never gotten into those situations because I kind of stayed away from the streets. Like growing up, being a foreigner, I didn't have like capabilities of going to college. So in high school was like my highest level of education because again, my parents was working hard to get my brothers and sisters there. Mind you, from 4 till I'm 18, 19, my parents was still trying to get my brothers and sisters over here because they recommended so much things. And they weren't able to help me get into school. I didn't have the papers. I was basically here illegally until I was like 21, 22. So I couldn't go to college. So what happened was out of high school, I found music. And I started like messing with music and like buying little instrument pieces. I'm at like the pawn shop, and me and my cousins was like dabble, dabble, dabble. And it turned into like something, like when I first started, my mom was like, "Oh, turn that crap off. You're making all this noise." So you'll come in the room, but hey, that sounds cool. Whoever that is, they sound good, or whoever that is, they sound bad because it turned into a business. So it turned into me not getting a college education to me forced to learn how to be an entrepreneur, as a young man. And that carried me for a very, very long time working around music and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I feel like all these experiences, it molds you into a certain type of man, especially if you have a conscience. Like, I know what's right and I know what's wrong. And I choose to go the right way instead of doing the wrong way because I've seen too many of my friends either die or locked up for drugs or, I have a few friends that 10, 20 years in prison just now getting out, and I chose not to go that way. Like I told you, I learned from other people's mistakes. I try to avoid the wrong path and just kept it straight.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, though, that you were observant enough um, and had enough clarity to know that, okay, this is the direction that I want to go in, or, okay, this particular friend made this choice. This was the result. And I
Yeah.
know that this isn't what I want to do with my life. So I'm not going down that road. And it's
Yeah.
unfortunate because a lot of young Black men, they're not as aware of that. They're going along for the ride, or they're in their mix of friends who are doing things they might not necessarily want to do. And then before you know it, they're caught up in a situation.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like if you see some of these like gangster movies and like some of like the Black films where, somebody accidentally gets shot and now they're crippled. Like I experienced those things in my life. Like I had a friend, he played basketball, like dope basketball player, walking home, two people fighting, shooting. He gets shot. He's crippled now till this day. I've experienced these things. I've experienced, and speak about race, that just brought back some memories. Speak about racism. I remember I was in elementary school. We walked home. We didn't get to take the bus. So our walk home was like a 20-minute walk. And I remember we had to cross this one road that was like a major intersection. I want to say but it was a major intersection. Do you know that this white guy just hit one of my friends and kept on driving?
Oh my goodness.
His leg, yes. And kept on driving. And it was a white guy. Just boom, hit him and just kept on going. And I'm not even talking about like he slowed down and like tried to avoid him. Didn't even touch his brakes. Hit him and kept on driving. We had to pick this boy up. Mind you, we're in elementary school. We had to pick this boy up and walk him to his parents' house, knock on the door. Like, we didn't even know him like that, actually. He was just a kid that walked the same way we walked, and picked him up and then took him home. And then I never heard anything about it ever since. At that age, I didn't think nothing of it. Like, I didn't think, oh my God, we should go after that person. We were little kids. And I feel like just, racism. People didn't care. Like, they didn't care what they did. There was no cameras back then and stuff like that. And I remember me and a kid named Johnny, we picked the dude up and walked him home. Leg broken and everything, like carried him home. And That guy didn't even care, man. He didn't even flinch when he did that. So yeah, man, I experienced some traumatic stuff, but I feel like I don't know. That's what make me who I am. Like caring, like respecting people, and no matter what culture you are, what color you are, I don't care about that. It's who you are inside. You know, a lot of those negative things in my life, I feel like developed who I am today and made me who I am. Yeah,
It's a wonderful thing to see. The fact
yeah,
that you went through so much at such a
yeah.
young age and so many traumatic things and so many painful things, and you didn't use that to project pain on the others. You
Uh,
transmuted that and you used that to strengthen yourself and strengthen your resolve. And you chose not to be that type of person with all this vengeance and hate and, you know, things of that nature. So that's a testament to your resilience.
man, I mean, as a young man, when I got older, yeah, I probably got in trouble a little bit, but like, I try to like reason with myself, like, Remy, did you have to go do this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and when I seen things were getting too far, I'd be like, nah, I'm out of here. I'm not doing none of this. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's many a stories. Like, I got friends that I'm still friends with today. And one day, one of my friends was like, Remy, bro, the stuff that we got into probably would have been dead today. Like the things we avoided, we could have been dead today. Like I've had somebody pull out a gun on me and my wife. This time we were dating. We weren't even married. I mean, legit, just pull a gun out and start arguing with me. And I did not back down. I did not, I don't know. It's a lot of crazy little incidents and stuff like that.
Well, you're a strong brother.
Hey, that's the thing, man. People don't know what to go through in life.
No.
That's why I don't judge people. I don't, man, our life is not easy, man.
Yeah.
And to to be strong and like process these things in your head, it takes a lot of strength. You know, it takes a lot, man, to be strong through certain things. That's why I don't know, man. I don't judge nobody anymore. Like I just I look because that man could be going through the worst time of their lives. That woman, that person, and that's why I don't judge people. Unless you do something in front of me and show me your character is messed up. Okay, yeah, your character is messed up, but I'm not gonna just look at you and judge you. I'm not gonna just assume you're this or you're that. You know what I mean? So because
Right.
I know how I grew up, I know how I want to be viewed. Like I love respect. I love when somebody, I love my peace. I say, I love when somebody can see me and they be like, "Oh yeah, that's Remy. He's a good guy." You know, I like to be able to go anywhere and somebody see me, they know who I am, respected. Like that's a great guy. I love that positivity. I don't dwell on negativity. I don't like being around negativity, and I choose my friends wisely. When I was younger, I probably didn't. Actually, no, yeah, I did have good friends, but some of them were knuckleheads, and I'll tell them like, "Hey, you gotta tighten up." But I try to choose my friends carefully, and I felt like that's what helped my journey be where it's at now. Father of two, a husband of one, like I said, a homeowner. We take care of each other. We love each other. And I don't have to look over my shoulder at any point. I can go anywhere and I'm good because I respect people and people respect me.
Yeah. And every human being is worthy of respect.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna shift gears real quick. So I know I named this series
Yes.
KINGZ rather. And I did that because I wanted a platform that was gonna highlight and celebrate Black
Yes.
men, celebrate the wonderful things about them, because in society they're always sharing the negative things, you know.
Yeah.
And I wanted to highlight the strength, the resilience, the overcoming, the divinity, the love, just all these wonderful things. And what I wanted to ask you was, when you hear the word king, what does that mean to you? What is that to you?
It might sound weird, but humble servant.
True.
Because your king has to be able, and I'm catching chills about that, but yeah, a humble servant, meaning like your king has to show humility, humbleness, you know, respect. show that, because I feel like we're kings of our households. If we act, we're arguing, yelling, screaming, cursing, da 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 in front of your children, what you're showing your kingdom is this is how you're supposed to be. But if you show your kingdom love, peace, helpfulness, caring, you know, loving, your kingdom is gonna grow up with those traits, you know. So that's what as a king, man, is a humble servant, man. Somebody that can come down to the people and talk to them. And when I mean the people is like your children, come to your wife, let your children see how a leader is supposed to act, how you're supposed to carry yourselves. And thank God, like, I'm happy that I'm able to show my children that, because it reflects. Like, I've had my son's principal call us, and something happened on his bus that he stayed out of. He made sure he wasn't part of. The principal actually called us. We thought he was in trouble. And the principal called us. She was like, man, I just want to thank you guys for raising such a good kid, because we watched the video and we saw that he was the only one not trying to cause problems on the bus. Because I guess it was something big that happened on the bus. And it's not that we told him to be like that, but it's the way we carry ourselves, like how I carry myself, like you said, like a king, and that's what I get from him, man. A king is a humble servant that serves his people and show his people the right way to go. His family, his wife, his kids. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by his people.
I love that.
Yeah, I live by
Speaking
that.
some knowledge today. Yeah.
I live by that. Like, man, I tell my kids I love them every day. Like my wife, like I tell her I love her all the time. Like, because I want them to experience that and not go experience it outside of the house. Where, find love in the wrong place from wrong people, but they know what true love feels, or they know how a father is supposed to be. They know how a mother is supposed to be. So those traits get carried on. And believe it or not, I learned that from my parents. Meaning, like, my mom will get mad at my dad, and my dad will laugh it off, and he'll make it a joke and play it off, and like they'll resolve their issue. I'll never see my dad get in a screaming match with my mom. They might have arguments, yeah, they weren't perfect, but most of the times it's like my dad just like he moving very calmly, and I feel like I get some of that. Yeah, I could get heated in an argument with my wife, but at the end of the day, I try to move like that. So I want to keep that tradition going where, we try to treat each other with a form of respect. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, children model what they see.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, this has been a pleasure today.
Oh, man, it was awesome, man.
Thank you so much. And before we go, Remy,
Mm-hmm.
if you could say anything from your experience of being a Black man growing up in America, or just your experience in the world as a Black man,
Mm-hmm.
if you could say anything to all the other kings out there, what would you say to them?
What would I say to them? It's so much. I wouldn't say be humble, but I would say be able to analyze yourself, look at yourself and see what you need. Be open to your spouse and tell them what you're feeling. Because a lot of us, like, I still do this actually. A lot of us, we hold it in our brain, we hold it in our heads, and we like, it runs through our mind. We're like, we don't show emotion like, I don't know, like women, or like, just don't show a lot. Like, we keep it inside, and it builds and it builds and it builds. And our problem is like our own problem, like where we don't open up with each other. So I feel like be a little bit more open, don't be afraid to show emotion, and, you know, communicate with your friends, your spouse, talk to your friends. You know, I have buddies I can go to, like one of my cousins, me and him will be on the phone every day and we'll talk about whatever, because that's one thing that I used to do is I hold all my problems in my heart, and that can hurt you, that can break you. So yeah, be a little bit more open, be a little bit more loving, and keep being strong, man. Be strong for the future. for the kids and like teach them the right way. So that's what I would say.